Hello, everybody. Welcome to my new session on buying and expenditure, or buying capacity, or expenditure capacity. This is a continuation of financial literacy for high school students and junior college students. And welcome again. This is Jyotirmayi Pola. I work as a software architect in an MNC in Bangalore. I'm recording these videos for the benefit of high school students and junior college students because I find that essential aspects of life are missing from the academic curriculum in India, and I would like to give my bit to the students and the next generation kids. Thank you. Let's start. So just a recap of the aspect of finance, which was in my previous recordings. The links for my previous recordings are in the comments below. We talked about earning money, different ways of earning money. We also talked in depth about budgeting in my previous videos. Now we are going to talk more about buying capacity here. But otherwise, we also gave introduction on financial decisions for a finance portfolio, banking services, savings and investments, loans and credit cards. Each of these topics will also be elaborated in separate videos. You're welcome to watch them. Thank you. Let's talk about buying capacity. In my previous video, we spoke about how do we calculate the net income, what is the net income and how should you buy things, what is your buying capacity, etc. In this session, we're going to talk about more about needs and wants in my next slide. But here in this slide, I would like to say that whatever is your net income, a person should usually try and buy things from his net income, from his savings, which he saves for a futuristic aspect. So if there is a needs, we're going to elaborate in my next slide, but whenever you have a need to buy something, pick something which is accommodating in your savings and earnings. If your needs and your buying capacity is always within your earnings and savings, that is your net income, you will always be remaining with some savings and the item that you have bought or the service that you have bought. There is another way to buy things where your needs or your wants for which you are spending some amount to buy things, to buy a service, if it is beyond your earnings, you end up taking a loan, which will force you to get into a debt, and you will have to prepay your debt. But of course, you will always have the item or the service that you have bought for which you have taken the loan and you have spent all your savings together. In the second case, your savings will become null, and also you will end up repaying your debt with a huge interest. There is no financial institute or a bank which gives you a loan, be it on a credit card or any other type of loan, with lesser interest. The rates of interest might be less, but end of the day you're paying huge amount back to a financial institute. So always remember, do not buy anything that you do not need or you cannot save up for it. If I need a refrigerator in my house and I don't have one today, I would like to save for it. A refrigerator in India, for example, costs around 8,000, a smaller one, 8,000 Indian rupees, and I can save it in the next 4 or 5 months. If I have survived without a refrigerator for so long, I can survive for another 3 or 4 months or 5 months. Save for it, go take your cash. You will have choices between different vendors, different companies which are selling refrigerators. I buy whatever I need within my budget, or I can buy a used refrigerator, clean it up and use it. There is always a way where you can miniaturize your needs and you can buy something better. You can buy something that is more reasonable, and it will still suffice the need that we have. But I can always also go for a loan and buy all the items, electronic items in my house, and buy an, say, iPhone 10 or anything else that I would really not require. So there is always a financial decision one should take, whether that need is a need or a want, which I'm going to elaborate in my next slide. Let's talk about what is really a need and what is really a want. A want is like a wish or a desire. I wish to have a beautiful 4 bedroom house. I wish to have iPhone 10 or the latest iPhone, whatever time you're watching this video. I would like to have a Mercedes Benz car. I would like to have 3 or 4 cars in my house. I want to have a big house with a big pool. I want to have a extremely good clothes with shoes, new shoes every time, and fancy watches, etc. These are all desires. My needs are something that I really need. They are bare minimum essentials to survive or to live, which includes your clothes, shelter, shoes, your medicine, your basic education, your food, your transportation, some medicinal requirements in your family, not just for you, but for your family, etc., etc. Which means to survive, you really require those needs. Yes, you can always go for your wants in your 50-30-20 rule, which is again in my previous recordings. But how much do you want to really spend? How many wants would you want to have? How much desires do you really want to fulfill for yourself? Yes, I want to do bungee jumping in my life. That's a dream. And I would like to spend on it. Save for it, go for it. But having said that, don't spend on unnecessary dreams, unnecessary wants and desires. They don't give you anything. You may look good in a new suit with the new shoes, but the person who is appreciating your beauty is only going to just appreciate for that one few seconds of it. Beyond that, the value of the shoes or your suit makes no difference to you. Whereas if it is a medicinal requirement for your mother or father or a grandparent or somebody whom you love, that's actually a need. So try always taking loans or spend money only on your needs. Yes, restrict your wants. See what really makes you happy. If it's a dream come true, like you want to travel somewhere, or you want to do bungee jumping, or you want to go for river water rafting, or something that your dreams are, go for it. Save for it, go for it. If you can save for your desires and you can spend it at a later point of time, do that. Instead of taking a loan and paying like 40 to 60% of your whatever loan amount that you are taking as an interest back to the bank, it is always better to save for the same few months in which you are repaying and use that 40 to 60% of interest on something that is more useful to you. Never be in a hurry. If there is an emergency, yes, go for a loan or a debt, but otherwise, please ensure you understand the difference between needs and wants, and you usually need to spend only on your needs. Your desires or wants can be prioritized, saved for it, and go for it. This would be my advice to the next generation. Let's see some of the aspects where you really need to take a loan. For example, there is a medical emergency with a huge amount beyond your savings, but it's a medical emergency. Somebody is super sick in your family whom you love and you really need to spend money to save them. Yes, please go for it. A housing loan is like a big ticket item, as I call them, something like a huge amount that you would require, and a house is something most Indians would like to buy for their own future and for their own families to live across. Yes, go for it. It's a big amount and maybe your salary wouldn't be sufficient. And if you have to save for a house loan, you may have to save for the next 20 years, which is not practical. You cannot save it like for the next few months and go buy a house, unlike a refrigerator in my previous example. So it's a big ticket item, so go for it. Anything like that, which is actually a big ticket item and you really require that, it's a long-term thing, then go for it. Go for a loan and prepay it. And try and pay your loans always as faster as you can. During your loan repayment time, please do not spend on any of the luxuries or any of your desires. Try and repay the loan as quickly as possible, because there is no loan on earth given by any financial institute or bank which does not take a whopping amount of interest. You're unnecessarily paying a large amount of money in the name of interest. So avoid that if it's not a big ticket item. Once again, you're starting a business or you already have a business and you're going for expansion, or there is some profitable ideology that you are having which gives you more profits and more benefits, go for it. Go for a loan, which means your original amount plus your interest that you're paying to the bank, you're earning way more than that by investing it into some kind of a business ideation that you have. Go for it. Go for loans like that. Go for a higher education as far as possible. Try and avoid it. But yes, if you do not have a sponsor in your family or in your friends who can sponsor for your higher education, yeah, please go ahead and take a loan for it, but repay it as quickly as possible once you start earning. There have been many people, many students who have gone for very higher educations at a large amount of money, and they ended up paying for many years, restricting their lifestyle. Enjoy your life while you're young is a very good idea to have, because as you get older, you will have more responsibilities and you won't be able to enjoy your life. So give yourself a future or a present where you are loan free and you are actually spending your savings and your money on something that you really desire to live your life for. Go for it. So avoid higher education loans as far as possible, but otherwise this is also a big ticket item that you should be able to go for a higher education loan. So try and take loans only if it's a big ticket item. Otherwise, try and avoid it as much as possible. Try to find an alternative, be it a reasonable, more reasonable item, which doesn't have to be a brand or something if you want to buy or anything like that. So try and avoid taking any kind of a loan. I would like you to have a future for yourself instead of being in debts and paying a lot of interest to financial institutes. All in all, if you borrow money, you're robbing yourself of future self. You're robbing your future. You're only paying debts and repaying them, and with a huge amount of interest. So don't do that. I wish you happy budgeting and happy buying and a happy future. Thank you. See you again.